Have you ever told yourself, I'll start my craft business when I have more money? Because if you're like most Americans, that one sentence has probably delayed your goals for months, maybe even years. We've been conditioned to believe that starting a business requires capital tools, inventory, a workspace, a logo, a website, ads. But what if I told you that belief is exactly what's keeping you stuck? What if the real reason most people never start isn't lack of money, but misunderstanding how businesses actually grow? Because here's the truth that doesn't get talked about enough. The most resilient, profitable small businesses aren't built on big upfront investments. They're built on momentum. And momentum doesn't require money. It requires resourcefulness. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to start a craft business with zero startup capital, not theory, not motivation, but a practical step-by-step system you can follow starting today, using what you already have around you. Let's start by reframing the biggest myth. When most people think about starting a craft business, they imagine a fully equipped workshop, shelves of fresh materials, and polished branding. But that's not where real businesses begin. Real businesses begin with a single sale. That's it. Not a perfect product line, not a website. One sale. Because a sale does something powerful. It validates that what you make has value. And once you have that, everything else becomes easier. But here's where most people get it wrong. They try to build the business before they've proven the sale. They spend money up front hoping it will work, instead of letting the market tell them what works first. That's backwards. What we're going to do instead is flip that process entirely. So step 1 in the zero capital framework is this. Start with what you already have. And I mean literally what you already have. Look around your space, your garage, your room, your storage. Scrap wood, leftover fabric, cardboard, old furniture, unused tools, even packaging materials. Most people underestimate how much usable material they're sitting on because they're used to thinking like consumers, not creators. Small offcut of wood isn't waste. It's a coaster, a wall piece, a small shelf. Cardboard isn't trash, it's structure, texture, form. This is where the mindset shift begins. You're not buying materials, you're discovering them. And this one shift immediately eliminates your biggest barrier: cost. Now here's where it gets interesting. When you limit yourself to what you already have, something powerful happens. You become more creative. Constraints force innovation. Instead of copying what everyone else is doing, you start building things that are unique by necessity. And in a market flooded with identical products, uniqueness is an advantage. This is how zero capital creators compete, not by being bigger, but by being different. And difference gets attention. Attention gets clicks. Clicks turn into sales. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what about tools? I don't have professional equipment. Good, you don't need it. In fact, starting without expensive tools is one of your biggest advantages, because it forces you to focus on simple, sellable designs instead of overcomplicating things. But more importantly, tools are everywhere, you just don't own them yet. Friends, family, neighbors, local workshops, even community spaces. Most people have access to tools they don't realize they can borrow. And here's something most beginners overlook. People are far more willing to lend tools when you're working on something productive. A simple conversation. Hey, I'm trying to make something to sell. Could I borrow your drill for an hour? Goes a long way. Just like that, your lack of tools problem disappears without spending a single dollar. Now let's talk about the next barrier people imagine selling. Because this is where fear usually kicks in. I don't have a brand. I don't have a website. I don't have an audience. Here's the reality. You don't need any of that to make your first sale. Your first sale doesn't come from a brand, it comes from visibility. And today, visibility is free. Platforms like Facebook Marketplace, Instagram, TikTok, and local community groups allow you to put your product in front of people instantly. No fees, no upfront costs, no complicated setup. And here's the key, you're not trying to build a business at this stage. You're trying to test a product. That's it. One product, one listing, one buyer. So here's exactly what that looks like in practice. You create a simple product using materials you already have. Keep it small. Keep it useful. Keep it something people can immediately understand. Then you take photos using your phone. Not professional photos, clear photos. Natural light, simple background, multiple angles. That's all you need. Then you write a straightforward description. What it is, what it's made from, and why someone would want it. And then you list it. That's your entire business at the beginning. No logo, no website, no ads, just a product and a listing. And this is where most people hesitate. Because listing something for sale feels real. It exposes you to judgment, to rejection, to uncertainty. But here's the thing, you're not risking money. You're only risking discomfort. And discomfort is the price of progress. The people who succeed in this space aren't the ones who have the best setup. They're the ones who were willing to put something out there before it felt perfect. And once you make that first sale, everything changes. Because now it's no longer an idea, it's proof. Now let's talk about what happens after that first sale. Because this is where the zero capital strategy really starts to work. When you sell your first product, you don't spend that money, you reinvest it. This is the core principle that separates hobbyists from business builders. Instead of thinking, I made money, you think, I now have more resources to make something better. That first sale funds your next product. The next product is slightly better, maybe better materials, maybe a cleaner finish, maybe a slightly improved design. And because it's better, you can price it slightly higher. And now your business starts to grow not through debt, not through risk, but through reinvestment. And this is where something subtle but powerful begins to happen. You start building a system. You notice which products get attention, which ones sell faster, which ones people ask questions about. You're no longer guessing. You're learning directly from the market. And this is something money can't buy. People who invest heavily up front often skip this stage. And that's why many of them fail. They build what they think people want, instead of what people actually buy. But you're building with feedback in real time. And that gives you an advantage that most beginners never have. Now I want you to pay attention to this next part, because it's the difference between staying small and actually building something meaningful. At this stage, your goal is not perfection, it's consistency. One product turns into two. Two turns into 5. Each one slightly better than the last. Each one funded by the previous sale. And over time, something incredible happens. You've built inventory, skills, and experience without ever spending your own money. That's the power of starting with zero capital. You remove financial risk completely, which means the only thing left is execution. And here's where the mindset shift becomes permanent. You stop seeing money as something you need to start, and start seeing it as something that follows value. Because every time you create something useful and someone buys it, you're proving a simple equation. Value creates income. Not investment. Not branding. Not luck. Value. And once you understand that, you stop waiting. You start building. But we're just getting started. Because in the next part, I'm going to break down exactly how to scale this from your first few sales into a consistent, income-generating craft business, including how to price your products for profit, how to stand out in a crowded market without spending on ads, and the exact week-by-week plan you can follow to go from zero to your first real income stream. And this is the point where most people either drift off or level up, because getting your first few sales proves something important, that turning that into consistent income. That's where strategy comes in. And the good news is, if you've followed the zero capital approach up to this point, you're already in a stronger position than most beginners. You've validated a product. You've made real sales. You've built momentum without spending your own money. Now it's time to turn that momentum into something predictable. Let's start with pricing, because this is where a lot of new makers unintentionally hold themselves back. When you're starting with scrap materials, it's easy to undervalue your work. You think, well, the materials were basically free, so I'll just price it low. But here's the mistake. Your price isn't based on what it cost you to make. It's based on the value it provides to the buyer. If someone sees your product and thinks, that solves a problem for me, or that would look great in my space, they're not calculating your material cost, they're evaluating the outcome. So as your quality improves, your pricing needs to reflect that. And this doesn't mean jumping to high prices overnight. It means increasing gradually, with each improved version of your product. That's how you grow sustainably without scaring away buyers. Now here's something that will completely change how you think about selling. You don't need more products. You need better positioning. Most beginners try to make 10 different things, hoping something will sell. But the real leverage comes from focusing on one or two products that already show demand and making them better, clearer, and more appealing than anything else around them. That means improving your photos, simplifying your descriptions, and making it immediately obvious why someone should buy from you. Because in most cases, people don't choose the best product. They choose the one they understand the fastest. Let's talk about photos for a second, because this is one of the highest return improvements you can make, and it still costs you nothing. The difference between a product that sits unsold and one that sells quickly often comes down to how it's presented. You don't need a camera. Your phone is enough. What matters is lighting, background, and clarity. Natural light near a window. A clean, simple background, multiple angles. Maybe one photo showing the product in use. That's it. When someone scrolls past your listing, you have a few seconds to stop them. And strong visuals do that better than anything else. Now, as your listings improve and your products start selling more consistently, you'll begin to notice patterns. Certain designs will get more attention. Certain price points will convert better. Certain descriptions will get more messages. This is data and most people ignore it. But if you pay attention, this data becomes your roadmap. It tells you exactly what to make more of, what to improve, and what to stop doing. And this is how you scale intelligently, by doubling down on what works, instead of constantly starting over. At this stage, something else becomes important: time management. Because now your time has value. When you were starting, time was abundant and money was limited. Now, as sales increase, the equation begins to shift. So you have to start asking a different question. What is the highest value use of my time right now? Is it making more of your best-selling product? Is it improving your listing? Is it sourcing better materials? This shift from just working hard to working strategically is what turns a side project into a real business. Now let's talk about materials again, because this is where your profit margin starts to improve significantly. In the beginning, you used whatever you had, and that was perfect. But now that you have some cash flow, you can start sourcing materials more intentionally. Not expensive materials, efficient materials. Bulk scraps, reclaimed wood, discounted supplies, leftover stock from other builders. The goal isn't to spend more, it's to spend smarter. Because every dollar you save on materials increases your profit without increasing your workload. And here's where the business starts to feel real. You're no longer just experimenting. You're producing, selling, reinvesting, and improving in a cycle that feeds itself. And the most important part, you're still not using debt. You're still not taking financial risks. Everything is funded by the business itself. And this is the principle that most people miss, not just in craft businesses, but in personal finance as a whole. Growth is strongest when it's built on profit, not borrowed money. Now, let's zoom out for a second. Because what you're doing here is bigger than just making and selling products. You're learning how to build something from nothing. You're learning how to validate ideas, manage resources, respond to demand, and grow sustainably. These are the exact same principles used by the most successful small businesses in the world, just applied on a scale that's accessible to you right now. And here's something that might surprise you. At a certain point, your biggest limitation won't be money, tools, or materials. It will be your willingness to keep going. Because as things start to work, it becomes tempting to slow down, to get comfortable, to stop improving. But the people who turn this into real income, the ones who go from occasional sales to consistent profit, are the ones who stay focused during this phase. They keep refining. They keep learning. They keep building. So let me give you a simple week-by-week framework you can follow starting today. Week 1. Create your first product using materials you already have and list it. Don't overthink it, just get it live. Week 2. Improve that product or create a second version based on what you learned. Week 3. Focus on presentation, better photos, clearer descriptions, stronger value. Week 4. Reinvest your first earnings into slightly better materials and produce a higher quality version. By the end of the first month, you won't just have an idea, you'll have a working system. And from there, it's just repetition with improvement. Each month gets better than the last. Each product gets stronger. Each sale builds your confidence. And over time, what started as, "I'll try this with what I have," turns into something real, something that generates income, builds skills, and gives you a level of control that most people never experience. So if you've been waiting for the right time, the right tools, or the right amount of money, this is it. This is your starting point. Not perfect conditions. Not a big investment. Just a decision to begin with what's already in front of you. If this opened your perspective even a little, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Because this is what we do here. We break down real strategies that actually work, without the fluff, without the shortcuts, and without the need for upfront capital. And before you leave, I want you to take one simple action. Go down to the comments and write, "I start with what I have," because that sentence isn't just motivation. It's a commitment. A commitment to stop waiting, stop overthinking, and start building something real. And that decision is how everything begins.